guys, how's it going? Robert Sislo here, Director of Production for Grant Cardone TV. And this week, we've got another episode of Ask the Pro, and I have a very special guest. Hossein Kasmai of Franchise Creators is joining us in studio today. He's local here in Miami. And we're going to be talking about franchising, what is franchising, what you can do with it, why it's a good investment, and how he can help you get started in that. Hossein, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So you're in the franchising industry, but tell me, where did you start? Where did things begin, and how did we get to where we are now?
So I come from the corporate world. Left the corporate world and started my own business back in 2005. I started a company locally in Miami. And I decided to franchise it soon, probably about 6 months into it. And I went into the franchise world back in 2005. This company grew from one location into 175 locations in 11 countries worldwide in just a short 5 years. In 2010, I sold that company, got bought out, and I retired, as most people do at that stage. But I decided to come back and help others build a business and build it into a level very similar to mine. So I came back and I helped companies franchise their business and actually reach that American dream.
Okay. So for our audience, what is franchising? Very basic, what is it?
So franchising is basically a way to grow your business with other people's money. That's what I like to call it. So there's two ways to grow your business. You have an opportunity to grow your business on your own, organically. That means opening a second, third, or fourth location. Doing so requires a lot of your own time, a lot of your own money, a lot of your own resources. So everybody's limited in all of those categories, right? Even if you have the money, you only have a certain amount of time. The other problem you have is that every time you open a second, third, or fourth location, you have to manage that location somehow. You can only be in so many places at the same time. What does that mean? That means you have to hire a manager to manage your second, your third, or your fourth location. The problem is that that manager doesn't have a vested interest in your business. He doesn't really care about it as much as you do. The worst thing that can happen, if he screws up at work, you're going to fire him, or he gets another job. So your brand is dependent and is in the hands of a person that has absolutely no vested interest in your business. So franchising solves all of those problems. It allows someone to come to you and say, okay, I'm really interested in what you've done here. I want to mimic this. I want to open a location just like this in my city, in my neighborhood. So they go ahead and bear all the costs so that you don't have to dish out a dime of your own money. As a matter of fact, they pay you what's called a franchise fee up front. That fee is somewhere between $20,000 to $50,000. So you're gaining that initial cash. So instead of dishing out your own money, you sit back and you get that money. So now that's helping you with your finances in order to grow your own business, right? So then they'll go out and open a location, they hire the employees, they fund the place all on their own, and as they grow the place, obviously you now have a person that does have a vested interest in the business. They have everything to lose just like you do, so they care about it. They care about the business, they show up every single day, they work like you do, they think about it all day and all night like most business owners do, and therefore the brand does well. So as the brand does well, it's going to improve your own popularity of your own brand and so forth and so on. Of course, with franchising, the biggest advantage is that royalty income that comes in, which is that residual income that as an owner, you're actually gaining. So every dollar that they make, they're going to give you a percentage of that back to you. Now that percentage is anywhere between 5% typically, depending on if you're in food business.
That's on revenue per month?
On revenue, on gross income.
Gross income.
Correct. So, all the way to 10, even higher percentage and the royalty is usually paid on a weekly or a monthly basis.
Okay.
So that is the umbrella, what's called franchising. So it's a group of people that are working together under one brand, under one trademark with a common set of goals.
Got it. So somebody creates a business, they invest all this time, all this energy, all this hard work, and an investor can come by and say, hey, I really like what you've done. Here's $500,000. I want to open up another location. Can you explain that little process right there? They just go and they say, I want a franchise. What happens in there?
Right. So an investor comes in, and typically investors come in from actually visiting your site. So let's assume you have a restaurant. The investor is probably a visitor at your restaurant, is a customer at your restaurant. They like the food, they like the ambiance, they like what you've done, they like the dynamics of the restaurant itself. So they want to open this very restaurant at their own city or their own neighborhood. So they come in and they pay you a fee up front, then they'll go off and work with a commercial real estate individual to find a location that's suitable to open a business like this. When they find a location, then they're responsible to follow your guidelines in order to build the place into what's acceptable to your standards. Whether you're using a particular floor or whether you're using a particular color on the walls, where you buy the furniture, where you buy the equipment, the decoration, and everything has to go with your standards. Mm-hmm. So they follow your guidelines in order to build the place up. Once the place is built up, then they have to follow your guidelines in how to operate the location, what services, what products they need to provide to their customers in that location. All of that has to be approved by you and has to follow your guidelines. Those guidelines are typically mandated in a document called the Operations Manual. That manual is developed by the owner, in this case a franchisor, so that franchisee always has a guideline to follow in order to build their business. That's basically how it works.
Very good, very good. So for you, why did you get involved in franchising? What was it about it that held your interest and you said, you know what, that's the industry I want to go into?
So for my own personal need, it all started because the business that I started was a child safety business. So we were actually providing children identification services in schools and daycares throughout the Miami region. I wanted to grow that business. I didn't start that business to have only one location. That wasn't my dream. The ultimate dream was to have this service available to all schools and all daycares throughout the country and even worldwide. The problem I had was exactly what I mentioned earlier, and that is the people that I wanted to work with me as managers to operate my second or third location or fourth location were people that I didn't trust. These are ordinary people that are out there.
Right.
In my particular business, there were children involved. So I wanted to make sure that the business was run exactly the way I wanted. And that's when I started researching. And I said, there's no way this can be done organically. They cannot grow the way businesses normally grow.
Right.
Liability is another issue that with franchising, a lot of that is stopped between franchisor and franchisee. In other words, you don't bear all of that liability by yourself.
Got it.
So being a children business, being an individual, a person that was building a brand to go nationwide, the only solution that came to mind at the time was franchising, because it removed all of those obstacles. It allowed me to go to cities or countries even and do these services in those places, and I could be sleeping comfortable knowing that someone who had a vested interest in my business was actually out there doing the same thing.
I like that. So what are the standards or the qualifications that you look for an investor to go into a franchise?
So it all depends on the franchisor. So let's first talk about, how it depends on the business of the franchise. So if the franchise is developed, imagine if it's a restaurant. If it's a restaurant, it may look for people that have restaurant experience. If it's a healthcare joint, for example, an urgent care center, they may be looking for people that have healthcare experience. Mm-hmm. Fitness, we have franchised many fitness companies. In the fitness industry, you want to make sure that the franchisees that are investing in your business have some sort of a fitness background or passion. Now, there are many cases where an investor who has really little knowledge about that industry is buying into that franchise And in that scenario, they have to hire a manager who is passionate about that business. That manager basically becomes married to that investor, and he or she is the one that's going to be running the place very, very closely alongside the owner.
Okay, that's excellent. So you have a business called Franchise Creators, and from my knowledge of what you guys do, you buy, invest, and build franchises. Why don't you talk a little bit about what it is your business does?
So Franchise Creator has two basic components to it. The main thing that we do is we work with businesses. These are businesses that have 1, 2, 3, 4, or even bigger locations. We have franchise businesses that came to us when they had already 50 locations. But typical businesses that come to us have less than 10 locations. These businesses come to us and they're looking for a way to expand their business and go nationwide or go globally through franchising. Mm-hmm. So we work with those businesses in order to turn their operation from a regular business into a franchise operation. You can't sell a franchise without meeting certain standards set aside by the Federal Trade Commission. Franchising is regulated by the FTC, so you have to meet certain guidelines in order to be able to offer franchises to public. So that's exactly what we do. We work with these companies in order to build a franchise platform, turn their business from an ordinary business to a franchise business ready to expand in that region. So that includes a number of things that have to be done for the business, for A through Z. Our work is basically a comprehensive service that includes everything, so that you as a business owner can continue doing what you do best, do your daily operation like you've done, and in order to grow your business and continue to pay the bills and bring bread to the table, we, on the other hand, in the background, take usually about 90 days to turn your business into a franchise business. And we require very, very little work from the business owners. We do everything on our own so that the business owner can continue doing what they do best. Once the franchise operation is ready, in other words, once that business now is a franchise meeting those standards required by the Federal Trade Commission, we now switch hats and we become a marketing and sales company offering those franchises to individuals out there that are looking for a new business opportunity, and we therefore help those business owners expand their locations throughout the country. So if we first franchise your business.
You build it, you franchise it, and then you find investors.
Exactly.
And say, hey, look, I've got this awesome gym. If you're interested, what's a typical, for an investor, what's a typical investment to get started in franchising?
So, you're talking about a business owner that wants to franchise their business?
You're educating me and you're educating the audience.
Okay.
So if somebody doesn't know, what's a good level of investment to start at?
So a business owner that wants to turn their business into a franchise operation is looking anywhere, around $40,000 to $50,000 to turn their business into a franchise operation. Once it is a franchise, then that amount could be higher depending on the type of a business, depending on how complex the franchise is. If it's in the healthcare, is more expensive. If it's in some industries, it's a little bit less expensive. So that is pretty much the average out there. Now, once that franchise is available, then, like I said, we now switch hats and we become a B2C company providing our services to consumers.
Sure.
And those consumers that are buying these franchises, depending on the franchise, can look to spend, and that's a pretty wide range. Robert, it could be anywhere between $50,000, $80,000, $100,000, depending on the investment, all the way to north of $1 million. So if you're looking to buy a fitness center, you're looking to spend probably $20,000 to $30,000 in franchise fee, and then another $100,000 or $150,000 on the build out of the place, the equipment, and so forth and so on, which totals up to be about a couple $100,000. If you're looking for a healthcare, of course, it's more expensive because the equipment, the digital X-rays, and everything else that you need. So it just varies significantly.
So entrepreneurs that are out there that maybe have $300,000, $400,000. And they're a little like, man, I'm not sure what I need to do with my money. What can I do with this? This is another alternative that exists out there for investing.
It really is.
How safe is it? Like as far as return of investment, if I come in and I say, hey, here's $400,000, how safe is that to put money into and to get money out of it?
That's actually a very good question, Robert. And here's the deal. The deal is the reason people are going the franchise route. Obviously, a lot of us can open businesses on our own.
Yeah.
But instead of opening a business on your own, why would you buy a franchise? Why would you buy a franchise? Why would you pay for a franchise fee and the royalties and everything else? And the U.S. Chamber of Commerce actually puts out a very, very interesting graph that basically says that if you open a business on your own as a as a business owner, you open a business on your own, the chances of your business staying open only a year later is 50%.
Yeah.
Now, if you go 5 years out, you only have a 25% chance that you're going to be open. In other words, 75% of businesses that open today will be gone 5 years from now.
Yes.
Now, when you look at franchises, 93% or somewhere north of 90% of franchises are still in business 5 years out. So, in other words, if you want to start a restaurant on your own, a burger joint or an ice cream place or a fitness center on your own, you might as well pay the franchise fee, pay the royalties, and go in with someone who's done this before. Someone that has made all the mistakes so that you don't have to make those mistakes. It's all about the mistakes. Mistakes are costly. People can't afford those costs, and therefore they crumble. They go out. So
you're the platform.
We are the platform, yes.
You're the guys that made the mistakes, and now you're like, okay, we don't do this. This is how you want to do it.
Exactly.
This is the proven track record. Okay.
Exactly.
Totally understand.
Exactly. So I want to also go back to the last question you asked about the range of franchises that are available. So there are also home-based franchise opportunities that we offer. Companies that we have franchised, and now we're offering those franchises that are only starting at $25,000. You can get into a business on your own for less than 30 grand. So those businesses are also available. So depending on what you like, where you stand, and what type of business you want to open, if you're a type of guy that wants to be more on the streets and visit different businesses, we have a business for you. If you're a type of guy that, generation after generation have been in food and restaurant and hospitality, we have a business for you. If you're a type of guy that likes to, place vending machines in various locations, we have a business for you. Mm-hmm. On and on and on. So depending on what you like, we have a certain business for you. And again, you could go as low as $25,000 to get in business for yourself.
It's amazing. Absolutely incredible. Well, guys, that's everything I've got for you today. Hossein just shared some really interesting stuff. Some takeaways that I got out of it was, hey, build the business or get involved with somebody that's actually made the mistakes already, like Hossein, his company. It's a good investment. There's a return that exists. It happens, and it's there. And, dude, check it out. Franchising. Grant's actually mentioned it in How to Become a Millionaire in the Millionaire webinar. It's another avenue, which is why we brought Hossein in, just to kind of talk about this other type of investment that exists out there. Hossein, where's a good place for people to find out more information about what you guys do?
Absolutely. So our website is franchisecreator.com. Again, it's franchisecreator.com. And one more thing I want to say is that our business itself is a franchise opportunity as well. So that if you're interested in owning a business like ours, in other words, reaching out to local businesses and see if they're franchisable, work with them, and to turn them into a franchise operation, we're offering that opportunity as well so that you can have an office in your own city or location and be able to do exactly what we do and work with businesses and turn them into multi-million-dollar franchise operations. That's also available. Once again, you can go to our website at franchisecreator.com. Thank you so much.
It'll be listed in the link below. Hossein, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Guys, every week Grant and I bring an expert in their industry, the pro, to share a little bit of knowledge about what they do every day so that you can gain a little bit of knowledge and do something big with your life. Stay tuned next week when either Grant or I will bring another guest on Ask the Pro. Thank you so much. Have a great one.